We made it. Okay. All right. So I think it's morning. It's still morning. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Evidence of the Dream Realized, our King Drew alumni panel during fifth period from now until 12:45. My name is Miss Moore White. I am an alumna of King Drew as well as a history teacher here. Most of you know me. Some of you have me as a teacher. And so we have a wonderful group of panelists here who are going to talk about their KD experience and how their KD experience has impacted them throughout their career, whatever career of their choosing. I also have another moderator with me, Mr. Sankara. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hello. This is Brandon Sankara, formerly Brandon Bell from the class of 2007 at King Drew, presently covering for the math department, teaching Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 for the rest of the semester. Woo, 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 woo.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So I'm going to put this in the chat too. Are there any other alumni who would like to be promoted to the panel to share their stories? Once again, we're asking about your experience and how your experience at King Drew has impacted your chosen career path. So I think I should start with a heavy hitter, somebody I've known since elementary school. So let's go for Dr. Williams. So Dr. Williams, can you share about your experience at King Drew, what it was like for you, and then also how King Drew has impacted your chosen career?
Hello. So King Drew was very instrumental for starting me off on the right foot into the medical field. I have very fond memories of attending King Drew. But what helped me the most was being able to have the structure that King Drew provided, and having, I would say, staff and teachers that really actually cared about the student's success. It also really helped that King Drew was across the street from a hospital and next door to a medical school. And in being in such close proximity allowed us to have the program where some students are able to shadow physicians in the hospital. I was in a special program where we actually did a research project, which actually jump-started me into doing medical research, which actually fared very well for me in college. And I did research all throughout college and even landed this really big research opportunity to study a whole summer in Nigeria, all expenses paid for. And I think a lot of those things helped me build my resume and helped me get into medical school. I was also able during my time at King Drew to battle within the admissions department at Charles Drew. So that also kind of helped me understand what they were looking for in applications and different things. So just having that at such a young age was very helpful. I didn't understand it all at the time, but in hindsight is 2020, and it really helped me set a really clean foundation to get to where I am today, where I'm a family medicine physician. I work full time in Oakland, California, at a small nonprofit community health center called Roots. I'm here now. I work 9 to 5. I do street medicine. I see newborns to elderly. So I pretty much do it all. And King Drew helped me start off on that right path.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Dr. Williams. All right, so let's go on and move to Krystal Bush. And also, when you talk, can you tell us what year you graduated from King Drew as well? All right.
I was 2005.
Hello, everybody. My name is Krystal Bush. I graduated in 2001. I just realized today that it's 20 years since I graduated from high school, so that was alarming. I currently am in HR, and I work for Chipotle. I cover all of PAC South, and that includes all the way up to San Jose, California, all the way down to San Diego, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. And I love HR. I will say that my experience at King Drew helped me because when I got to college, I was so prepared. I had teachers. I was just on the last one, and Mr. Siegel was on there, and he was like one of my most influential teachers. And when I think about Miss Marble and how she helped us, like she helped us when we were applying for colleges, that to the point when I asked people, like, isn't your counselor helping you? And they're like, no, that's not what they do. I'm confused because Miss Marble did so much for us to make sure that we were able to get into colleges. And my class was the last class at King Drew that we only had 97 kids. We were the last class that actually went to the bungalows, and we were connected to the first class that was in the new building with Dr. Roy. It just helped me learn how to research. It helped me learn how to focus on my studies, but still have fun on the outside. I ended up going to an HBCU. And I say that because I went to King Drew, I was able to carry on how I felt and how I participated in school at my HBCU. Also, a lot of people I went to college with also went to high school with me as well. So that was wonderful. And so I am just like excited that I went to King Drew and know that it really did have an impact on how I participated in life going forward.
Thank you, Krystal, for sharing that with us. Oh man, I love this high school. I love all the variety that our alumni provide for us. All right, so I'm going to go to Jose Valdovinos. Can you share your story? Give us the year that you graduated and also how King Drew has impacted the career that you've chosen.
Can you see me?
Yes, I'm going to promote you. I'm going to make you a spotlight right now. Yes.
Perfect.
There you go.
There we go. Sorry, I wasn't really prepared to talk at all, but sure, I can share a little bit of kind of my experience at King Drew. I graduated in the class of 2010, and I think the greatest impact that King Drew had on my life and my career was just kind of showing me that there will always be people there who are willing to help and are interested in your professional development, your career development. And it just showed me that I shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. I kind of just drifted, I think, through my time at King Drew, but there are specific teachers who sort of took me under their wing and made sure that I was kind of on top of the things that I needed to be doing. And so it kind of led me to a career outside of healthcare. Actually, I originally thought I wanted to be a doctor and thought I wanted to go that route, and started my undergrad career as a pre-med student. But I think King Drew sort of just opened my eyes to a lot of other career paths. And so right now I'm currently working at a company called Alumni in Boston, Massachusetts, in their finance department, which is totally unrelated to healthcare, but I think it doesn't really matter because King Drew just kind of taught me the analytic skills that I needed to thrive in that environment. And so, my suggestion is, kind of network while you're at King Drew and get to know your teachers better because and your fellow classmates because kind of ultimately you'll end up reaching out to them and kind of moving your career forward. And you may very well end up in healthcare, you might not, but I think King Drew will prepare you to succeed in any industry that you wish to be in. And it just really comes down to what kind of effort you put in and what you can take with you from King Drew and how you can apply it to that next step.
All right, and Jose, I'm looking at your last name. Are you a part of the King Drew Valdovinos family that sends a lot of people to King Drew, including Jasmine and
Yeah, we can't stay away from that school. We have had a ton of family that's gone through there, and we're all related.
All right, I love it, and I love whenever I see one of those names pop up because I went to high school with obviously I went to high school with you if you're class of 2010, and then one of your cousins as well. All right.
Yeah, I think there's a couple cousins, nieces currently there right now. So we like to keep it in the family.
I love it. I love it because King Drew is such a family school for so many of us. I know my older sister went to King Drew, my younger cousin went to King Drew, and King Drew is everything. All right, so thank you. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing just for a quick second because I heard that we have a really, really awesome person who wanted to join our panel, who's someone who was important to the early formation of King Drew, and I had to stop everything and definitely let her speak. So we have the honor and the pleasure of having the dear Alice Harris on our Zoom. So I'm going to spotlight sweet Alice Harris. She was essential to the parents of Watts and helping getting some of those first students into King Drew, and has not stopped helping and promoting King Drew, and we also have a room named after her. The oral arts room on campus on the 4th floor is the sweet Alice Harris oral arts room. So as I said previously, this is such an honor and such a privilege to be here on the Zoom with you. So please take it away.
Hi, baby. How you all doing?
We are wonderful. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, and I know you all are doing fine. And I am so glad that I stuck with this long enough. This school stuck with the land because they didn't want to build a school there in the area where it was. And I told them, no, we got a college right there. We got a hospital right there. You're going to build a school right there. And I got that school started. And look at it now. The best students, doctors coming out of there. Y'all know you know you're good. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm Sweet Alice now. If you go up on that 4th floor, they used to have my history up there.
It is still up there, and we even put you on the tour last year. So you are mentioned in our school tour that's on YouTube.
Yes,
so I hope you still feel the love that we give to you. So I want to ask you a question, just kind of the origins of King Drew. So how did it start? We hear about this block party that you threw. Can you tell us a little bit more about that block party that you threw?
Well, I was in a meeting at the Board of Education, and Dr. Palomares, he came in and he says, well, you know, we have the application for the school, medical school gonna be built. And we were sitting in there, and I said, and asked Rita Waters, she was the board member, I said, did they do that, go down to Jordan High School and do that? And he says, oh no, we won't have, you won't have students nice enough, smart enough, if we build a school there in the Watts area. I said, yes, sir, you will. At least give us a chance. And so Rita Waters told us, so now I tell you what, I'm gonna hold up these applications. Give her a few applications and at least give them a chance to put in some applications. So, and if we turn them down, we just turn them down. So what I did was I got the application, went to Jordan, and the principal at Jordan, I told him, give me 100 applications, you know, run me off the 100. And I went in there and I got them all in the community. And I got all my good students, because I live here. I know who the students are, the families are, and I got all of them to sign. And I got all the mothers, went back, got another 100, got all the mothers to sign. Then I went back and got another 100, but I got 50 principals to sign. If we build a school in the Watts area, medical high school, we will support it. We support it. And then what I did was I then started a barbecue. I got a date for a barbecue. And I had all the board members, I invited them to come to the community barbecue. I didn't tell them what I had. I said, we got a community barbecue and they want to meet the board members. And so I put that barbecue there, and one of the boys that worked for the school board, he knew I was doing Harold Kimber, and Harold said, I'm gonna get you a truck and you're gonna have like a meeting there, and you have a microphone. I said, all right, get that for me, get it for me. That morning for the barbecue, he came over with that big old truck, bagged it up in there. And as the board members came, they sit up on the truck and they could look back at the parents. We had 100 parents. We had 100 students. We had 50 principals, schools, not schools, but churches that fill out those applications. They would be in support of it. And when I introduced all the board members, told them they were here for the barbecue. Then I asked for the president of the board, and I told him I had a package for him. And I wanted to give it to him. I said, but to give you the package, I said, number one, we got 100 students. Young students, stand up. We had them all out in the front. I had rented me some chairs. They sat down. They all stood up. I said, all right, students, let me see your parents stand up. And go over by your parents and when the parents stand up, students went over there by the parents. They all stood up. I said, all right, now let me get the churches. All the churches, you all gonna support it if we get a medical high school and why? Oh man, they went to patting and shouting. And I told them, I said, now this is what y'all gonna promise me. Promise me, if we get a medical high school in Watts, we will have the best students turning out to be doctors and nurses. We're gonna take care of that school. And the parents with the shout. And I told them, now hold up with the shout now. Hold up with the shout. Because they're board members. Then when I got the board told, the board members all standing up there, and some of them went to cry. And I said, now here is the application. The parents, the students, and the principals, we turn them over to you all. We want a medical high school bill. They said, okay. Now they didn't get it in Watts, but they got it in Watts Willowbrook. Same thing. So that's how we got our school. It's been the best ever since. It's been the best. It still is the best. And we have the best teachers, and we have the best students. Still the best. You don't hear nothing here about the high school. Just look how pretty it is. Look at that pretty school.
Look at the principal. Hey, Dr. Brookens.
You think it's in Beverly Hills, huh? Well, we're in Watts Willowbrook.
All right, thank you, Sweet Alice, for joining us. We truly, truly appreciate it. You have fans in the chat. They are saying thank you. They are so appreciative for you joining us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting my grandma listen and speak, you guys. Class of 1999, and my baby was class of 2017. So that means my grandmama made me go to school. I'm her granddaughter, and Cameron's a great granddaughter. So we keeping it going, y'all.
Cameron be finishing medical school in 1 year.
Yes.
Wow.
Coming on back. She'll be a doctor.
Okay, beautiful. And the chat is blowing up right now, Sweet Alice. You are a superstar. That we are here because of you. And today has been such a day about legacy. We saw Dr. Schumer, Dr. Bloom, Sweet Alice, Miss Shirley Stark, Wallace. I mean, there's been so much today, and I'm just really, I'm almost full right now. I almost want to cry. It's so beautiful. All right. Thank you, Sweet Alice.
All right. And thank you all for keeping it so nice.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right, everyone. So I do want, we have a celebrity. I just saw his name there. Mr. Graham, do you mind if I promote you to be one of our panelists, please? I've heard lots about you, and I would love to promote you. Mr. Graham was very influential and important to the design and the building of King Drew. So even without his permission, I'm going to promote him anyway. This is such a beautiful day. Okay, so give him a second to switch over from attendee to panelist. Let's see. All right, Mr. Graham, are you there? Can you hear us?
Good afternoon.
How you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
All right. So for most people may not know who you are. So could you tell the students and the staff and the alumni your role in King Drew or the development of King Drew?
Well, I was actually one of the architects and designers of the school way back in starting in 1992 when we started actually developing it, and developed with Sweet Alice and Dorothy Rochelle and the whole group. It was Dr. Ernie Roy was the principal at the time, and I was probably all of 28 at that time, I'm guessing, something on that order. But it was just a wonderful, it was a wonderful exercise of development and collaboration. And it just does my heart well just to kind of see how over the years the school has actually supported so many success stories, as I'm continuing to hear. So I'm just so proud of this whole effort. I mean, it was a really intense kind of a experience of developing the school, and we came up with several different school or schemes on a 3.8 acre site. And that time was what, $47.6 million to develop it. That probably would have been 5 times that amount now to build. But it's just amazing. I think overall, I mean, just to be able to develop something in this neighborhood, and I think that to see, I mean, so many people go through the system and that whole thing, and being successful, it just does my heart well. And for me, I think it actually helped propel my career into what I'm doing today as one of principals in a firm that I've been at for 33 years now. And I've done many other high schools and other facilities and projects in the community, all up and down California. So proud to be a part of this one, especially. So thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you so much for, we owe so much to you as well. Mr. Brookens has a picture of the school behind him, so you can see that. So I actually want to ask you one question. I've always wondered about this. The 3-story art relief of depicting Doctors Martin Luther King and Doctors Charles Drew. What was that like, kind of watching that be placed in? Was that one of the last things that was placed in the school, or kind of how did that happen?
Yeah, and I would be remiss without kind of mentioning maybe some of those kind of things. The other part of it too, which I think was really cool for me, just kind of keeping to my roots and all that. The mural was actually one of the first things that we developed as we were kind of going through the design. And it wasn't just myself, like I said, it was, my higher up was, I guess at the time we had Harold Williams and Associates, was a African-American, well-known African-American architect in LA that I was able, our firm was able to team with, and he was actually very instrumental in actually interfacing with Sweet Alice, Dorothy, and the whole group as well, and getting this whole team together. But not only that, but we also, as we were kind of working through this, we actually had, a well-known sculptress, Tina Allen, that basically, collaborated with us on this. And so, the architecture was actually developed, so you can kind of see, I guess, if you see Reginald Brookens' background, that background there, we actually developed it just for that sculpture to happen, because that was a part of it. We wanted to have this integrated sculpture, as artwork, as kind of a basis to inspire not only students that would come here to this facility, but also the neighborhood at large. And so that was a super big, important item to be able to kind of incorporate, relief, of these 2 individuals into perpetuity, so to speak. And so that's how we kind of work through it. And even that part of it, it's the panels are actually what they call a fiberglass reinforced panel, concrete panel. And I think we broke it into 6 different pieces. And, we had several different renditions of that as well until we came to this one here. So it was another piece that, again, was just a kind of a source of pride that we could kind of cast it in a relief like this and kind of incorporate it for the project as well.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Graham, for all of that wonderful information. This is, like I said, this is amazing. All right. So now I'm going to put one more person on the spot. Mr. Brookens, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. So I know that you are a child of LAUSD. I know that you went to Washington High School, but I just want to know, kind of, when you were coming through LAUSD as an employee, what was your impression of King Drew, and how is it now to be the principal of this institution with such an amazing legacy and history?
Well, as an employee of LAUSD, prior to my principalship, I was the math coordinator for local District South. And so I had an opportunity amongst other secondary schools to visit King Drew, right? And when I walked in the building, I could always feel the difference. I could not sense or imagine that one day I would be principal there, but just going into the building and comparing that to the other schools I went to, I just knew it was something special about King Drew. As a kid growing up in South Los Angeles, I didn't know what King Drew was, right? It wasn't known. I didn't become known. I didn't know about it until I started working in the area. But just those visits there just made me fall in love with the school. And little to my knowledge, I would later get the opportunity to lead this fabulous institution of higher learning. But it's just always been special from the outside looking in, and then once you get on the inside, you really see the special nature that King Drew has. And so for our students that are on the call, you are privileged to be a student at King Drew. And as you see the legacy and the history behind us and the family nature that all of these people that have come back, and when you hear Sweet Isla's story, I never forget the first day I heard that story, right? And I had no idea, right? And to this day, I thank Sweet Alice for me being at King Drew, right? And so we all have something to be proud of for being part of the King Drew legacy. And I just want to thank you, Ms. Moore White, Mrs. Sankara, Ms. Thigpen, everyone for making this presentation come to light. And the fact that we can do this on Zoom and have people from everywhere be a part of it is a wonderful thing. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Brookens, for that. All right. And I don't think that we can do anything to make this day more special or more amazing than it already has been. From starting off the day and learning the historical pieces that really turned King Drew, like the Watts riots, the LA riots, the formation of CDU and Martin Luther King General Hospital, and then taking that into our legacy panel and learning so much from Dr. Schumer, Dr. Bloom, Miss Shirley Stark Wallace, Mr. Siegel, and Miss Malbrough. It's just been an amazing day. So I thank everyone who's been a part of this. And then we came to fifth period and had this amazing alumni panel as well. So thank you to Dr. Williams. Thank you to Krystal Bush. Thank you to Jose Valdovinos. Thank you to Sweet Alice Harris. Thank you to Mr. Mark Graham. And thank you to Mr. Brookens for everything. And thank you to Mr. Sankara for being my co-moderator for the day as well. I hope that everyone has an amazing Friday, an amazing weekend, and goes and enjoys the sunshine just as, hopefully you guys listened to at the beginning of some of the other presentations. Have an amazing weekend, enjoy, and see you all on Monday. Bye, guys. All right, and once again, thank you to the panelists. I am, man, this is amazing. This was, this is better than I could have imagined or even dreamed.
Someone wants to ask a question to Mr. Graham. Stephanie.
Oh, jury?
Where'd she go?
I think she might have been in one of the earlier class periods. That's from 11-12.
Somebody disappeared. Yeah, but yeah, she said they wanted to ask a question.
All right, so there's a question there that says, how was the architectural design of King Drew decided?
So interesting. Basically, it was actually, first off, the design, we actually competed against, I guess, 3 other architects, actually 6 other design teams. Basically, so we had to kind of compete our package because it was a design build process, which means we were working with the contractor right off the bat. And I guess out of that, out of those 6 participants, I think they reduced it down to 3 at the time. And basically what we actually were able to kind of provide, which was really cool, and it hasn't really been paralleled since with LAUSD as far as I know, but we actually had a very integrated team of people that were actually in the process. I mean, a lot of African-American, Hispanic, but mainly African-American, I mean, as far as workforce, as far as in the build team portion of it. And at that time, there was a majority firm called Peck Jones, and actually they were finally bought out by PCL. But I think that what we actually were able to bring was, and it was really important, is that we were able to bring, professionals, and at the time, African-American professionals that really could actually kind of show, not only develop a design for the project that was inspirational, with the bricks and mortar portion of it, but also some of the things that we were talking about, like with the relief, Tina Allen. And I think, one of the things that at the time I can kind of recall this very vividly, that they, one of the things that they wanted to make sure that the school kind of looked like, that it actually kind of blended this Ivy League look, and that's where the brick came in. The USC, if you go to USC or if you go back, east, all these Ivy League schools with the brick and everything else, the brick was actually, a material that they wanted to use. And at the same time, and make sure that this was a progressive minded school. So what you see here at the base of the building and around there is that brick, and the white plaster were the areas that were basically the new technology, the new movement of actually growing out of that, but having that brick as a base at Ivy League, kind of teaching institution as a base, and the white was actually growing out of that. And that's how we had that kind of a multi-tone, kind of a relief, and kind of working through that. And, at the same time, we wanted to be a kind of, we developed it as a safe haven. That was the other thing that was very attractive at the time, because the riots were right then. At that time, I can kind of recall very vividly that, there was a lot of things happening right there. So we wanted to make it so that when you came to King Drew, when you went through the main atrium space and into the school, that you were actually in the safe haven, that no matter what was happening on the outside, you could leave all that junk at the door, so to speak, and be focused in an area that you could, that was calling to learning and that sort of thing, and working through it. And I think that's what made it very successful. And to that day, to this day, I think it was, very good. I think the main atrium space, that was kind of like looking through the binoculars of a microscope. That was the other idea about it, is that people could kind of look through there and see lots of activity happening. If at one time when we first developed the project, we didn't have that enclosed. That was actually an open space. And we felt that it would be nicer if we actually were able to enclose that together, so that you had it, in that fashion. And I think it's worked out pretty well overall. So there's a lot of neat things. I mean, I can recall the interior, I actually developed the majority of the interior spaces. It was about 35 sheets of interior drawings, 30 by 42 sheets. And, just kind of drawing, and kind of working through that and developing, the floor pattern plans that you see in the hallways and the ceilings. A lot of that was, I can remember sketching a lot of that stuff and kind of coming up with that. So that's kind of where it was. That's kind of the idea of how the design came about, and how we kind of moved it ahead, and we wanted to make it very, Compton, Willowbrook, Watts, something that was special to, this neighborhood. I grew up in Inglewood. I have family in Compton and things like that. So again, it was just a lot of us came to the table here as a collaborative, and just bringing in a lot of love that made it a very unique space in developing it. So there you have it.
You were definitely in your bag when you were drawing King Drew. I want to know, like, so those we call them the Socratic steps, right? That those amphitheater seatings that.
Yeah, that was another
part. What were some of what was going through your mind when you set that up with the cafeteria right there at the bottom? I mean,
yeah. No, that was another sketch of mine too. I mean, I really, I mean, that was it was kind of a neat thing, and I think that again, having an area where people could gather, this outdoor gathering space and outdoor learning area, now they call these next generation learning spaces that, basically, were conducive to that sort of thing. But basically that's kind of, to have all these multi-tiers, because again, we didn't have that much room, 3.8 acres. Most high schools, you have roughly about 50 acres to develop. So to only have 3.8 acres, it made us have to go vertically. We just didn't have enough room to get the play fields and everything else in there. But that space in the middle, the space that we did have that was open to the sky and all that, we wanted to develop it to the point where, you could actually have a multimodal type of, gathering, teaching, learning, that sort of thing, and then to connect it to, the cafeteria that was in the lower level. And so that's what I'm saying. It's funny how these things come about. I think that, it's one of those things that I was thinking about and looking at something else downtown LA at the time. One of the high rises had something kind of a similar kind of a thing. And I said, well, that'd be kind of cool to integrate that into this school. And, like I said, that's kind of how these things kind of were created, and just tying it all together. That was the next step of it. So there you have it.
All right. And Mr. Graham, do you happen to have any pictures of King Drew while it's being developed? I know you sent us some for the tour, but that was kind of like the opening day. But do you have any of those, like, as it's being built kind of photos? And if you do, could we possibly get those sent to us?
I'd be more than happy to. I'm sure I could dig some of them up because I used to live that place, even when it was under construction. You know what I mean? Like that was one of those projects you just couldn't keep me away from. And, you know, I would on the weekends, you know, go down there and kind of walk through it and take photographs. So I'm sure I have some I can share. So I'll look for them and I'll find them for you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
All right. Does our audience, do you have any more questions that you all want to ask before I close out this Zoom and this webinar? I see that Dr. Schumer said the story needs to be continued and developed. Quite a journey from 1982. Oh my goodness, completely. And we are, you know, the 40 years is officially starting next year, which means that we have time to gather all these stories so that we can make all of next year just amazing and just full of all of these rich stories and the history that is hidden right in front of us that we really need to discover.
Yes, and thankfully, because of the pandemic, excuse me, this is Miss Thigpen, we were able to do this. We needed this for our mental health. We needed this to know and remember our history, to get us back started about getting back into the building. So I so appreciate the time and support of all the people that participated in the panel today. Thank you, Ms. Moore White and Mr. Sankara for doing an amazing job. We've had a wonderful morning, and this is just the beginning. We want to make sure that we had a chance to record all of this before this history, this rich history, was lost. So thank you so much. We will be in touch, and we look forward to our next 40 years.